Hello dear students, this is Raksha Shetty and you're watching Edubassa, your homely learning channel. So in the last video we learned about the brain, the parts of the brain and the function of each parts of the brain. So today in this video we are going to concentrate on the plants. So until now we learned about animals. Now in this video we are going to concentrate on plants, basically coordination in plants. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So these are the content parts of it. So we are going to learn about introduction, how the immediate response is going to take place to the stimulus in the plants, and what do you mean by tropic movements, what are the types of tropic movements, and what is the limitations of electrical impulses, and what is plant hormones. Yes. So first, coordination in plants. So we know that in the animals there are nervous system, there are muscles, isn't it? Yes. But in the plants there is no nervous system, but there is no muscles, as well as there is no brain, there is no spinal cord, there is no neurons. Then how the impulse is going to pass, how the information is going to pass, how the plants are going to respond to the stimuli? That is going to take place in the plants also, isn't it? The plants also undergo certain type of movement, the plants also grow, the plants also what respond to stimuli. Yes, so we are going to learn about that in this video. So basically there are two types of movements in the plants. One is growth dependent movements, one more is growth independent movements. One second. Yeah, growth dependent movements and growth independent movements. As the name itself says, growth dependent in the sense the plant movement is taking place, that is nothing but the growth movement. That is because the movement is taking place because of the growth. Okay, the movement is taking place of the plant because of the growth. I can give the example of the shoot part of the plant growing towards that of the sunlight, isn't it? Towards that of the sunlight, it is growing, isn't it? So that is growth dependent movement. One more is growth independent movement. Growth independent, again independent, as the name itself says. So the movement that is going to take place not because of the growth, okay, not because of the growth. So that is said to be what? Growth independent movement. So there are two types of movement in the plants. One is growth dependent movement and one more is growth independent movement. Yes. Next is the introduction part of it. So I have already told you, animals have nervous system, animals have brain, animals have spinal cord, animals have nerves, isn't it? Animals have neuron, isn't it? Yes. So they have muscles in order to undergo the coordination as well as controlling. But plants do not have any nervous system, plants do not have any muscles, isn't it? Yet they show stimuli, yet they show the growth. So how exactly, that we are going to learn further. So the example, one of the example is Mimosa pudica, that is touch me not plant. Touch me not plant, you might have observed, isn't it? The spined plant, touch me not plant, you might have observed when you touch the plant, it folds its leaves and it droops and it bends, isn't it? It folds all its leaves and it bends, it droops. So you might have seen. So that itself is an example for response to stimuli. Yes. Now, immediate response to stimuli. Now, I have told you the mimosa plant, when you're going to touch it, it is going to bend, droop, and it is going to, fold its leaves. How exactly it is going to take place, we will learn here. See, the mimosa shows instant movement, not growth-based movement. So this immediate response to stimulus is not a growth-based movement. It is not a growth-based movement. So it is independent to growth, isn't it? Independent to growth. It is not a growth-based movement. So when you touch the touch me not plant, suddenly the leaves are going to fold, isn't it? Suddenly the leaves are going to fold and droop. So that is going to take place immediately, whereas the growth takes place after some time. It takes a lot of time, isn't it? So that is growth moment, but this is not a growth moment because it is going to take place immediately, just like the reflex action. Yes, the movement occurs at the point of touch. So at the point of the touch, the movement is going to occur. I'm sorry for the bad diagram, but when you're going to touch here, what happens? From the point of the touch, the movement is going to take place. Here the leaves will fold, leaves folds, and finally it droops, isn't it? How? The signal passed from cell to cell by electrochemical means. Electrochemical, same as that of the human beings. The signal is electrochemical, but what happens in this case is nothing but when you touch here, the signal is passed from cell to cell. So hence all of the leaves are basically what gets the signal. I mean, all of the cells gets the signal, and hence what happens? It droops and it what closes the leaves. So how exactly it is going to close is nothing but cells change their shape. So it is very much, what do we say, sensitive to the touch. It is very sensitive to touch. So very sensitive to touch. So hence what happens when you are going to touch here, when you are going to touch, the cell will be having water. So the water will be getting out of the cell, and the cell is going to what? It is going to shrink. If this is the cell, water will get out of it, and it will what? It will shrink. It will shrink basically. So after some time again the water enters here. So you might have observed this touch me not plant, after some time it again comes back to its original figure. So that is because water again gets in, and the cell becomes swelled again. So that is what is going to take place when the stimulus, because of the immediate response to stimulus by the mimosa plant. Yes, what is the result? The quick folding of the leaves is the result. I'll show you with the picture, so you can see here. When you touch here, what is going to happen? All the leaves are going to fold because the electrochemical signal is going to pass. So since it is very sensitive to the touch, what happens? The cell, whatever the water is present, that will get out of it, and the cells will shrink, and hence all the information is passed, and all of these leaves are what? All of these leaves are folded, and hence it gets drooped. You can see here, first it will be like this, then it becomes drooped, isn't it? So first it is the undisturbed mimosa plant, then the mimosa plant when it is touched and or it is shaken, because it is very sensitive. Yes. Next is the types of the tropic movements. Until now you learnt about the growth independent movement. Now we are going to learn about growth dependent movement. What is the growth dependent movement? Growth dependent movement is called as tropic movement or tropism. What do we call it as? Tropic movement or the tropism. So there are different type of tropic movements. So we are going to learn about the different type of tropic movements in this slide. So first one is phototropism. As the name itself says, photo. You might have heard this, photo, not you're clicking photo. Photo. There also you can imagine photo when you're clicking, isn't it? The light comes. Photosynthesis, because sunlight is there. So here again, photo in the sense sunlight. Clear? Photo in the sense sunlight. So what happens when there is sunlight? When there is sunlight, the shoot part of the plant, this is the root part of the plant, this is the shoot part of the plant. The shoot part of the plant, it is going to bend towards where? Towards the sunlight, because it is sensitive. The growth is going to take place towards the sunlight. Okay, so that is said to be phototropism. Shoots always grows towards the sunlight, hence it shows a positive phototropism. Which one? The shoot part always shows a positive phototropism. Yes, the shoot part always shows which phototropism? Positive phototropism. You can see the root part over here. So it is not going to go like this, isn't it? It is going to grow downwards. So it is not going to grow towards that of the sunlight. So hence it shows which phototropism? Negative phototropism. It is growing away from that of the light, hence it shows which phototropism? Negative phototropism. So next is about the geotropism. Since geo, okay, geo in the sense gravity towards the gravity, okay, towards the earth. So when the The shoot part of the plant obviously doesn't grow towards that of the earth, isn't it? It grows towards that of the sunlight, whereas the root part grows towards that of the earth, or the towards that of the gravity, response towards that of the gravity. Hence it is shows which geotropism? Positive geotropism. It is called as geotropism, and it shows a positive geotropism. Positive geotropism. Whereas the shoot part shows which geotropism? Yes, very good. Negative geotropism. Negative geotropism. Okay. Next is about the hydrotropism. So what do you mean by hydrotropism? So hydrotropism is nothing but a response to water. Response to water. So hydro, as the name itself says, hydro means water. So what happens is nothing but the growth taking place towards that of the water. Wherever the water is present, if the water is present over here, the root is going to grow towards that of the water, then it is said to be hydrotropism. The root grows towards that of the water. So the next is about the chemotropism. So chemotropism is nothing but, as the name itself says, chemo. What is chemo? Okay, I'm so sorry. Chemo. What is chemo? Chemical, correct? Yes. Chemo means chemical. So the growth that is going to take place towards the chemical. Towards the chemical, ma'am. What do you mean by towards the chemical? Okay, I will explain you. One such example is growth of pollen tube, pollen tube towards ovule during fertilization. I will explain this with the diagram. One second, with the picture. So you can see over here chemotropism, isn't it? So this is the fertilization part and all. I'm pretty sure you have learned earlier, so I'm not going to tell about that in detail, but I will explain you what do you mean by chemotropism. So this is basically stigma. Okay, this is basically what stigma. One second. Yes. So now what happens when the pollen tube will settle in the stigma part? Now this pollen grain, when it is going to settle in the stigma part, this pollen grain will develop a tube-like structure. Excuse me, sorry. So it is going to develop a tube-like structure like this. It is going to develop a tube-like structure. Now this is called as what? Pollen tube. What do we call it as? Pollen tube. Now this pollen tube grows towards where? Towards the ovary part, ovule part of it. So it grows towards the ovule, because this ovule has certain chemical. So chemotropism means towards chemical, isn't it? So this pollen tube is going to grow where? Towards the chemical. You can see over here, towards the chemical. Hence since it is growing towards it of the chemical, it shows which tropism? Yes, very good. Chemotropism. Yeah, that is about chemotropism. Yes. So next is about the thigmotropism. This is nothing but response to that of the touch. So it is very much sensitive to that of the touch, and when there is touch, the growth will be less over there, but some different type of growth is going to take place over there. I will explain it. See, you can see over here, isn't it? So what exactly happens is nothing but, so this stem tendril is in touch with some stick. So hence what happens, the growth will be slow here compared to that of the growth here. So when it is slow, it encircles around this stick and forms a creeper, whereas here the growth will be like faster, because it is not in contact with anything, it is not in contact with the touch. So that is said to be thigmotropism. Okay, fine. So example is tendrils of climbers or the creepers coil around a support. It coils when there is a support. So that is basically thigmotropism. Yes. So these are the pictures which show the phototropism. As I said, the shoot part of the plant always grows towards that of the sunlight, which shows phototropism. Here the root part, H2O means water. It is the root part is growing towards that of what? Water. So it shows which tropism? Yes, Hydrotropism. Here the root is going to grow towards that of the gravity earth. So it shows which tropism? Geotropism. So you can see over here what the pollen grains, I explained it already. Pollen grains develops a pollen tube as soon as it reaches the stigma, and this pollen tube is going to go towards that of the ovule because the chemical is present over there. So chemotropism. Thigmotropism, the 10-stem tendril, it is going to coil around that of the stick. That is because of the touch. So it shows which tropism? Thigmotropism. So this is about different types of the tropisms or the tropic movements. I hope it is clear. So next is the limitations of the electrical impulses. So electrical impulses, electrical information that is passed from the cell to cell. So there is the requirement of the plant hormones in the plants as well along with the electrical impulses. Why there is the requirement of the plant hormones when there is electrical impulses? Because these electrical impulses reach only to that of the connected cells. Okay, it reaches only to that of the connected cells. As soon as after the impulse is passed, it needs some time to reset again. It needs some time to reset again. For example, just imagine you will run for a longer time, and again you got some prize. Just imagine you got some prize in that particular sports. Now what is going to happen is nothing but for the next time again what happens? You need some rest, isn't it? You need some rest. So the same way the cells also need some time to reset after the impulse, and it cannot generate impulses continuously. It cannot generate the impulse. For that reason, the chemical communication is important. For that reason, the plant hormones are important. I hope it is clear. Yes. So next, let us learn regarding the plant hormones. So these are the major plant hormones you are going to learn in this particular chapter, which is Auxins, Gibberellins, Cytokinins, and Abscisic Acid. So these three are growth promoting hormones. What do we call it as? Growth promoting hormones. Okay, growth promoting hormones, as the name itself says, growth promoting, growth increasing hormones. Because of this hormone, the growth increases. So that is growth promoting hormones, whereas abscisic acid is a growth inhibiting hormone. It is a growth inhibiting hormone. It inhibits the growth. Okay. So first, Auxins, it promotes the elongation of the cells and helps for the phototropism. So this auxin, it elongates the cell. Whatever the cell that is present in the plant, it will help to elongate the cell and hence helps for the phototropism also, which we will learn further. And gibberellins, it helps for the growth of the stem. Cytokinin, which helps for the division. So when there is cell division, obviously there is growth of the plant. So mainly in the fruit as well as seed region. And abscisic acid, obviously we have told what is it? Growth inhibitor. Growth inhibitor, obviously it helps for the wilting of the leaves. Wilting of the leaves in the sense because of the inhibit. For example, just imagine there is no amount of the water is present in that of the plant. So what it does is nothing but this abscisic acid helps the plant to close its stomata, so that the further loss of water will not be taking place. So because of that, what happens? The wilting of the leaves will be taking place. The falling of the leaves will be taking place. So this is about the plant hormones. So next is role of auxin in the phototropism. So auxin, we already know it is a growth promoting or inhibiting. Yes, it is a growth promoting hormone. What is the function of it? Elongation of the cell. So we already mentioned in the previous slide, it helps for the phototropism. How exactly? We'll know now. See, auxin is present where? At the shoot tip. Mainly at the shoot tip it is present. And what happens is nothing but it basically diffuses from the light region to that of the shady region. From light region, light, wherever the light is falling, that region to that of the shady region is going to diffuse. So now what happens is nothing but in the shady region, what happens, whatever the cells, because of this auxin, the main function is elongation of cells. The main function is elongation of the cell, isn't it? So what it does is nothing but it elongates the cell, and what happens, it elongates the cell, and the shoot is going to bend towards where? It is going to bend towards that of the light. So wherever the light is falling, for example, if this is the plant, okay, sorry for the bad diagram. So if this is the plant, the sun is going to fall here, isn't it? The sun is falling here. Now the auxin is going to move to a region where the light is not falling. It elongates the cell. After elongating, what happens? This stem is going to bend towards that of the light. So it helps for tropism or view. Phototropism. So that is about the role of auxin in the phototropism. So that is it for today, students. Now let us quickly revise the points whatever we did today. So the first point, the plants respond to stimuli without nerves or the muscles. We already know that animals will be having nerves and muscles in order to respond to that of the stimuli, whereas the plants without nerves or the muscles, they are going to respond to that of the stimuli. There are two types of movement is going to take place. One is growth dependent movements, one is growth independent movements. Growth dependent in the sense the movement that is going to take place because of growth, the movement that is going to take place here not because of growth. So example for the response to stimuli, we can take the example of touch me not plant or the mimosa pudica, which basically quick response to that of the touch, but it is not because of the growth. And several tropical movements, this is basically growth dependent movement, this is growth independent movement. So growth dependent movement is phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, chemotropism, thigmotropism. Phototropism is nothing but growth towards light, geotropism growth towards the gravity, hydrotropism growth towards the water, chemotropism growth towards the chemicals, thigmotropism that is because of the touch. Okay, so yeah, then electrical impulse is limited in that of the plants, so that's why what is needed, even hormones are needed. Talking about the plant hormones, there is auxin, there is gibberellins, cytokinin, which is basically the growth promoting hormones. There is abscisic acid, which is a growth inhibiting hormone. Auxins helps for the phototropism, elongation. During phototropism, what happens? The auxins will move to the shady region, and there it elongates the cells, and hence it helps the plant to bend towards that of the light, so making a way for the phototropism. Gibberellins helps for the growth of the stem. Cytokinin helps for the cell division, and mainly in the fruit region as well as seed region. Abscisic acid is a growth inhibiting hormone which inhibits the growth by closing the stomata in order to prevent more loss of water and hence wilting of the leaves. Yes, that is it. I hope whatever I did is clear. That is it for today, my dear students. Let's meet again in the next video. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Until then, keep watching, keep learning, and main importantly, enjoy while learning. See you. Bye bye.